Hey YouTube, what's going on? Kyle here with the Card Guys. I'm joined with Kyle. Hey Kyle.
Hello.
You just top 4 today at the RTN.
I did.
Got your invite to Nashville.
I did. Can't be mad at that.
It's in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Yeah.
So we don't have too far to go.
No.
And you're playing something that is slightly unexpected, kind of with the way the format's been going. And play Dash. Why Dash?
Dash has a reasonable matchup into a lot of the heroes that I think are the best.
Yeah.
You have a reasonable matchup into Oldham. You have a reasonable matchup into Prism, which I think are probably 2 of the best decks in the format right now. Your aggressive matchup into like Briar and Fi and stuff is not bad. It's just like any other aggressive matchup when you sit across from them. So it's just a reasonable matchup spread across the board, which is why I started on Dash today.
For sure. Let me know what your matchups were.
Match 1, played against an Oldham. My only loss in Swiss was to that Oldham. Round 2, played a Dromai, won that match. Round 3, played a Dorinthia, won that match as well. Round 4, played a Prism. And then round 5, played a Viscera, and I won both of those matches.
Okay.
Top 8, first round, played a Dromai. And then I lost to a Briar.
Lost to the Briar guy. How close was that last match?
It was close. It was about a turn cycle off. He played a Channel Mount Heroic 1 turn before I would have wanted him to.
Sure.
Had he drawn the Channel Mount Heroic 1 turn later, I think the game is a little bit different.
For sure.
It was even up until then, and then, you know, block your whole hand and still die.
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get into the list. We have the equipment suite first. We'll get into that, and then we get into like the core cards, and then kind of like your packages for each matchup you have here.
Sure.
So let's get into the equipment. Let me know things. Why?
Okay. So Achilles Accelerator is basically like that's an auto include. You never think about cutting that. Goliath Gauntlet, really good with a couple of the 2 attacks, the 2 cost cards here. Just pumping it to hits break points a little bit better. Good in conjunction with Combustible Courier, as well as just pushing damage. Tekla Foundry Heart, almost an auto include, blocks for 2, blocks for 1, has a relevant ability into some matchups. You really only activate the ability into aggressive matchups. Against Fatigue, you're not boosting anyway, so like you don't ever activate the ability, but blocks for 2, blocks for 1, good stuff. Visiertronic, Wizards is it. AB2.
AB2 is nice.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Skullcap into your fatigue and slower, grindier games. The extra block is helpful.
Sure.
1 extra life just on equipment is good. Crown of Providence, newest edition. Crown of Providence, really good into the aggressive matchups. Allows you to fix your hand, allows you to get a bad card out of Arsenal, allows you to screw Command and Conquers and not care about the first Command and Conquer, which is really nice. And then Plasma Pistol, that's basically an auto include. You see it in every Dash deck.
We love that card.
Yeah, it's a good card. Shooting for 2 is real good.
For sure. Well, let's get into the core that you have.
Okay.
Starting with the red attacks.
Sure.
Tell me things.
So basically, the core of the deck is 50 cards.
Sure.
All of the reds are basically core in any Dash list you look at. If you look at the Dash list, these 15 red cards are all core.
Okay.
Combustible Core is the only one that you don't see in some lists, right? You always run Red Throttle, you always run Red Zipper, you always run Red 0 to 60. High Speed Impact also very good.
Yeah.
Just a core, they all block 3. They all come in for above average rates for their cost.
Okay.
Like 0 to 60, 0 for 4 with Go again, real good.
For sure.
Yellows, Spark of Genius. Probably one of the best of the cards in the deck.
Yeah.
Spark of Genius allowing you to go get a Tekla Core or any of your items into multiple matchups. Really good. If you boosted a turn, play a Spark of Genius, you draw a card. When you do Spark of Genius, you can actually break your Achilles Accelerator, gain an action point, and continue your turn there, which is really hot sometimes, especially into aggressive matchups. Zipper Hit 0 to 60, Yellow Throttle, Core. That's anything, you see those in any Dash deck you see. Right? Blues are pretty core. Tekla Core, one of the best cards in the deck, one of the best targets for Spark of Genius on almost any turn. Allows you to block 1 more card when you have it in play. So into your aggressive matchups, allows you to block a little bit better because you don't have to worry about the resources. Into your control matchups, it allows you to block a little bit better. Just have your resources to set up the rest of your items and stuff like that when you have to block your whole hand. The rest of it's pretty core. Blue Throttle, Blue 0 to 60, Blue Zipper Hit. You always run those. T-Bone's a little bit weird. Really good at the end of the game once they've spent some equipment, especially into your Runeblade matchups, into your Ranger matchups. just being able to like Combustible Courier if they can't block it, and then T-Bone for 4, and they have to give you equipment there is really good. Just good on rate. 0 for 1, it blocks for 3. Most of the time you block with it, most of the time you pitch it, but when it's good, it's good. High speed impact, same story. And the one of blue Combustible Courier, same story. Real good at the end of the game, real good in conjunction with Goliath Gauntlet. Coming in for 2 for 4. If it hits, it gives your next boosted attack +3. Is really good, especially if you can line it up on a turn where they can't block the Combustible Courier. So like you come in for an attack, they have to block it. They block with like 2 or 3 cards on your first 2 attacks. You break Combat Chain, Goliath Gauntlet, and the Combustible Courier. They block for 3, it hits for 1. You come in with the T-Bone for 4. It's really good.
For sure.
One of Teklo Pounder in the main board. I cut it in some matchups. Sometimes that's the item I'll present, and sometimes it'll stay in the list. If you go first into an aggressive matchup, you leave 1 pounder in the deck. You start with 1 pounder, because if you can open with Teklo Pounder or Spark of Genius, go get Teklo Pounder if you're going first. Having 2 pounders going into your turn 2 is really good. Being able to come in with a throttle for 10 or a zipper hit for 9, or any of your blues, it makes them extremely large and very hard to block. If you're going second in those matchups, you normally will cut that. Just because you only want to run 59 cards. You want to see your high octanes, you want to see your other cards that are better in the matchup. You don't want a blue that doesn't block, that you can't play anymore.
For sure. Explain to me, you have your sideboard out here. What are these packages for? You said you have a package for each kind of matchup or game plan here, so explain to me what you want here.
Sure, okay. So this is a hybrid style variant. I'm not running any defense reactions, which is a little bit weird for a lot of Dash players. I'm also not on the full aggressive game plan. I think that kind of splitting the two with the meta the way it is, with the heroes that are popular, is reasonably okay.
Sure.
So over here I've got your aggressive package, which is these cards here, minus the payload. Into aggressive matchups, you'll play these cards. Maximum Velocity is kind of a win war-y card, but you need that spike turn against Briar. You need that spike turn against Phi. Sometimes you can't play it. Teklo Core is very key to playing a Maximum Velocity. If you draw it, don't have to block with it. You can't play it. You put it in Arsenal. As long as you're high enough life total, you just put it in that Arsenal, and then you can set it up for the next turn with a Teklo Core in play. Overblast, similar story there. You set it in Arsenal. If you can't play it, it comes in 2 for 7 at the end of your chain. Is really good.
We love that.
We love that. It's very good. Red T-Bone is just kind of an extender. It pressures anybody like Rune Blades. If you can go T-Bone into T-Bone, you're getting equipment that matters, right? It's just an extender. I tried cutting it from the deck for D-Reacts. It makes the aggressive matchups too inconsistent. It sets your blue and red ratio off. So T-Bone's just good. There's the one of Teklo Pounder in the core there, in the sideboard there. Sometimes you'll start with that one. Sometimes that will stay in the sideboard in your aggressive matchups. In the middle here, this is the plan against Prism. You cut all of these cards here for Prism. You bring in basically all of these cards minus the Command and Conquerors, which gives you six poppers for Prism, as well as Dromai. You kind of lump those two together. They're kind of the same thing. You don't bring in 1 Plasma Purifier. Sometimes you just run 2 and 2. You start with Induction Chamber in that matchup.
You do?
Induction Chamber in a Prism or Dromai is really good because you can shoot for 2 and then shoot an aura at the end of your turn. It's efficient, it's easy to do. It kills the aura plan. It's really good in Dromai as well, especially against Snatch Dragon. Being able to kill Snatch Dragon with a pistol is really good.
Snatch Dragon's crazy good. You don't want it to get value.
If you see Snatch Dragon across from the table from you, you block it with everything you have to make it not block.
And then kill it.
And then you kill it. You immediately you pitch your whole hand to kill it, even if you lose tempo there. Because it'll always take your Induction Chamber, it'll always take your Plasma Purifier, and if they're taking your item for free, you've paid tempo to play those items. So if they're getting the item, especially like a core or something like that, they get 4 resources off of it, and they take the tempo that you gave them for going to get the item in the first place. So it's just not good. So that's a must kill on side if you're playing against a drum. I have to kill it. So that's your Prism Illusionist sideboard. For fatigue, you don't run any of this stuff over here. You cut the high octanes, you're not on that plan. You're not boosting in that matchup. You are boosting literally 0 into fatigue. The only time you boost is at the end of the game when you can set up 2 reds on a turn where you have 3 Plasma Purifiers and 2 Induction Chambers in play. You shoot for 10, you play a red boost card, you play a red boost card, you shoot for 5 more, and if you have a resource, you break Achilles Accelerator, shoot for 5 more. They can't live through it. And then over here on the very far side, you have your Command and Conquers. Literally only a Lexi matchup card. You play it because of the Lexi matchup. Regardless of what you do, it's just so bad. All of the disruption that a lot of Lexi will play is really good against you into whatever you're doing. It makes your better than rate cards worse than rate, which is not where you want to be. So the Command and Conquer really messes with their arsenal, really pressures them to give you cards out of their hand and make them less disruptive.
Especially if they set 2 in there.
Especially if they set 2.
Try to get it out, for sure.
Or Goliath Gauntlet, Command and Conquer, give me your boots too.
Yeah, give me everything.
Give me your boots too. Here, you keep 2 cards in hand, you keep your arsenal. But that's what makes the matchup winnable.
Yeah.
If you don't see that, then you probably don't win that matchup. It's tough. It's tough.
Sure.
You basically do 2 3-card block, attack for 4 every turn against them until you're able to pressure them with the Command and Conquer, or they have a light disruption turn. You take all their damage to face, and then you just kind of pop off with Tekla Pounder, and you start Tekla Pounder in that matchup as well.
Okay, cool. Wow. I learned a lot just from listening to you talk about this, so I appreciate that, Kyle.
No
Congrats
worries.
on getting your invite to Nationals as well.
Super excited.
Like I said, Charlotte, North Carolina, we're going to be there, represent.
Yep.
Any shouts you want to give?
Shout out to my team, Armor All-Stars. We're a little bit of a newer team. We just got together a couple months ago, started playing together.
Sure.
Shout out to my team. Shout out to my wife that allows me to play all this time into this game and be able to travel with me and stuff like that. Shout out to you guys, because you guys are wonderful. Taught me a lot about the game already. So I appreciate it.
Awesome. Well, this has been Kyle and Kyle with his deck profile.
Just hanging out.
And we'll leave a like and whatnot, and we'll see you guys next time.